Hey, you, I need you to hit the subscribe button below.
Plus we practice what we preach and read them scriptures then apply. You wanna pull up on the prophets, come and try. It don't matter where we be at, when you see us we gon' ride. We'll pull up where you be at, hit the streets and bring it out. Plus we practice what we preach and read them scriptures then apply. You want that pressure, we got that. Scared of prophets, I doubt that. Got them scriptures, so don't make us bring it out, cause we bout that. Head chopping your doctrine, lay it down in the coffin. 7 morning, rise and shine. When we get up, we be out there. They call us prophets, proceed with caution.
Your culture tells you where you come from, your laws, your history, right? If you don't know where you came from, how you know where you're going? If you got a map and you don't know which direction you came from, can you find your way? But guess what? The Bible gives us a direction on where we need to go as a people, all right? ¿Entiendes? All right? Es más importante para todos la gente.
Dale luz.
De los negros, los hispanos, y los Native Americans, all right? Let me get Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 7, I believe, right? So what we're getting into is the importance of our history. And I'm going to show you your history in the Bible, right? Because you said you were Puerto Rican. What does that mean? What's the translation? ¿Cuál es la significa de Puerto Rico en inglés? Puerto means what? Puerto means port. Rico means rich. Are you a rich port? Are you a port? Are you rich? You understand? This brother, he's so-called Puerto Rican. See the flag? You understand that thing? He is not a rich port either.
Dale luz.
That's what our people need to understand about the Bible. We need to understand that this is a true book, but you can't have liars teaching to you. Let's read it.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 7. Remember the days of old.
It said, remember the days of old. Who are your forefathers? Do you know? ¿Y su forefathers?
Sus padres.
Sus padres en el pasado. ¿Quiénes? Who are they? ¿Tú conoces? No?
Abraham, Isaac y Jacob.
Yeah, Abraham, Isaac y Jacob. ¿Entiendes? That's your forefathers. También. Alright? So your forefathers are the people who you descend from. You descend from those men. También. Alright? So, what we're doing is, read it again.
Remember the days of old.
So remember the days of old. Remember who your fathers are. Read.
Consider the years of many generations.
The generations past. Y generación pasado. También. Read.
Ask thy father.
Ask your fathers.
And he will show thee.
Can your father show you right now who you are before slavery? No. We don't understand that thing. Why? Because our history was taken away from us. Read.
Thy elders, and they will tell thee.
We don't have elders in our communities a lot of days that are showing us our history. El historia en la Biblia es más importante para todos los hispanos.
Así es.
Los israelitas de la Biblia. ¿Entiendes? All right. ¿Entiendes también? All right. So we're going into our history to find out who we are.
Dale luz.
All right. Let me get Genesis. Chapter 49 and verse 1. It's más importante. So let me ask you a question. You know anything about the Bible? What do you know about your forefather Jacob? What do you know about him? He came from Abraham? Okay. Do you know anything else? This is Jacob speaking to his sons. Abraham had Isaac, Isaac had Jacob, right? And the covenant passed through them. Jacob had 12 sons. This is Jacob speaking to his 12 sons about the last days. Read that.
Genesis chapter 49 verse 1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, Gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days.
So he said, call yourselves together that I may tell you what's going to happen to you in the last days. When is the last days? Let's get there. chapter 1 and verse 1. Let's see when the last days are according to the Bible, because I don't know if you know it right now, but the last days are right now.
Right.
El último día.
El último día está ahora. All right? Read.
Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1. God, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets.
By the prophets, read.
Hath in these last days,
read.
spoken unto us by his sons, whom he hath appointed heir of all things.
So after Christ died, that was when the last days was ushered in. You understand that thing? So now we get the Bible through Christ. His spirit is all in this book. You understand that thing? ¿Entiendes? Cristo en el todo de la Biblia. Espíritu de Cristo es en el todo de la Biblia.
Así es.
Es más importante. Read.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you which shall befall you in the last days.
So Jacob is telling his sons, come here, come gather around. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to you when you're in the last days, so you can identify who you are according to the Bible. Es el profecía de la Biblia.
Así es.
You know what prophecy is? What is it? Explain it to me.
Something that's bound to happen
in the future, right? It's not like 5 minutes from now. You're talking about thousands of years in the future.
Right.
Jacob was a long time ago. But he said in these last days, at this very day, you're going to know where you are according to what the prophecies in the Bible are. That's verse 22.
Verse 22. Joseph is a fruitful bow.
Now, you don't see Joseph on your feet, on the sign, but you come from the tribe of Joseph. If you understand the history, Joseph, again, was one of Jacob, Israel's sons. Joseph had two sons, Ephraim y Manasseh. Ephraim y Manasseh, ¿entiendes? Ephraim, so-called Puerto Ricans. Manasseh, so-called Cubans, los cubanos. Listen to this, read.
Joshua chapter 14, verse 4. For the children of Joseph were two tribes.
So the children of Joseph got split off into two tribes, Ephraim and Manasseh. So you will come from what tribe? Ephraim. You're not. That's there's no tribe of Puerto Ricans. You understand what I'm trying to tell you right now? What the Bible is saying. When you are told that you're a Puerto Rican, that's not according to what God calls you.
That's right.
Hallelujah.
That's what your oppressor calls you. Because again, we already went over it. Are you rich? Are you a poor? So how are you a Puerto Rican? What does that mean? We have a term nowadays, right? What's it called? Boriquas. What does that mean? Boriqua, you know where it comes from? You know what language it comes from? It comes from Hebrew. So Boriqua comes from the Hebrew term Borinquen, which means brave and noble lords. Now that's a mighty name, right? Would you like to be called by that? Borinquen comes from Boriqua. That's why we call ourselves Boriqua today. You understand that thing?
Yes.
But nowadays we calling ourselves Puerto Rican on top of that. That's not right. So you would be an Israelite from the tribe of Ephraim.
Hallelujah.
Tú es la israelita de la tribu de Simeón. Los dominicanos, ¿correcto?
Así es.
Israelita de la tribu de Simeón, an Israelite from the tribe of Ephraim.
That's
All
right.
Now
That's
let's
it.
go back. Read.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 22. Joseph is a fruitful
So
bow.
now we're understanding that Joseph is referring to two tribes right here, Ephraim and Manasseh. But we're going to deal with you, Ephraim. Read.
Even a fruitful bow by a well.
It says, even a fruitful bow by a well. What's in a well? What do you find in a well? Water. Ephraim is surrounded, right, by water, is it not? So Ephraim is by a well, right? The so-called Puerto Ricans are surrounded by water, are they not? That's a prophecy. Read.
Whose branches run over the
So
wall.
now we got two things here. The branches are getting into the daughters, but it says run over the wall. There's a fort in Puerto Rico. You ever been to Puerto Rico? What's it called out there? El Morro. What is El Morro? El Morro. The wall, right? That's what it's called. That's what it's referring to. So it says the branches ran over the what?
The branches ran over the wall.
So now it's also, when you see in the Bible, it's annotated right there. The branches is also referring to the daughters. The daughters of Ephraim, y'all mixed yourselves up amongst the heathen. Alright? What they did was they went and had babies, children with los conquistadores. Alright? They had marriages with los conquistadores. You understand that thing? Alright, let's get that.
Hosea chapter 7 verse 8. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people.
It said Ephraim mixed himself among the people. So what who's referring to is the northern kingdom tribes. It said Ephraim mixed himself among the people. What does it mean by that? Read.
Ephraim hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake, not turned.
So when you have a pancake, thank you, my brother. Take care, take care. When you have a pancake, right, and you don't flip it over, one side is going to be very dark, and the other side is going to be very light, right? For instance, my brother right here, he's also from the tribe of Ephraim. You see how light he is? But in Puerto Ricans, right, you have very dark Puerto Ricans, like my brother over here. Right? So read it again. This is prophecy. Read.
Ephraim has mixed himself among the people.
So by that mixing, what happened?
Ephraim is a cake, not turned.
So it says Ephraim is a cake, not turned. Ephraim is a cake, not turned. Meaning you have very light Puerto Ricans and you have very dark Puerto Ricans.
That's right.
Very common in Puerto Rico, is it not? All right. But what do you hear them tell you? No soy negro, right? They all think they're not black. No, papi, no, papi, no soy negro. I no. They'll tell you, right? But guess what? The Bible right here is proving that we are the same people. Because the same way the history lines up for the Puerto Ricans, same way it lines up for mine, this goes from the tribe of Levi, which means would be so-called Haitian.
Same way.
It lines up the same way. You understand that thing? Let's go back to Genesis. Genesis chapter 49 and verse 22. Let's get that. Because, again, we go in here precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, so you can understand who you are according to the Bible. Read.
Genesis chapter 49 and verse 22. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall.
So the daughters ran over the wall, mixed themselves among the people, right? And then also you have El Morro in Puerto Rico, the wall. Read.
The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him.
This is talking about the conquistadors, because when they came over, you familiar with the Taino Indians? Those are your people, right? Those are the original inhabitants of the island of Boriquas, the brave and noble lords. You understand that thing? When they came over, those conquistadores, they destroyed them. What did they do to your people? What did they do when they got over there? Have you ever been taught this history? When you had the Jesuit priests come over, what did they do? They made sure that you guys converted to what? So, what religion did they convert you to? They converted you to Catholicism, right? A lot of Puerto Ricans over there, many of them, they're deep into Catholicism. You've seen the shrines, right? Big old picture of Virgin Mary, got the candles all over the place. Where did they learn that from? They learned that from their oppressors. They learned that from the people who God sent over to us because we did not obey his law, statutes, and commandments. You understand that thing? And then that's when they got you guys to convert over to Christianity, to Catholicism primarily, right? Because most of your people, you know, they're Roman Catholics, right? That's how they did it. They burned us up. And the ones who did it, and this is what they did to the people who didn't want to accept it, right? The people who did accept it, what they do? They worship that thing, and they do it to this very day. You understand? Let's go back. Genesis.
Verse 23. The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob.
So this is talking about Joseph. If you read the Bible, right, in Genesis, Joseph was sold off into slavery by his brothers. You understand? So at that time, the Most High was with him, and he rose up in power over time to be second over Egypt. That's a mighty position, right? Egypt, one of the most famous empires on the face of this earth. He was number 2 in charge. Read.
From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb.
So it said, right, that you would get blessings of all types. Blessings from above, blessings from the deep, blessings from the womb, right? If you know anything about Puerto Ricans, right, they fertile, ain't they? They very fertile. My grandmother, so-called Puerto Rican, you know how many kids she had? 9. With no problems. You understand? You know anybody in your family with a lot of kids, Puerto Ricans? How many kids they got? 12. 12 kids! Read it again. Read that last part.
Blessings from the breast and blessings from the womb.
Blessings of the breast and blessings of the womb. How many other people you know doing it like that consistently? Nobody. Nobody's doing it like that. This is telling you who you are according to the Bible. You understand the power in this?
Right. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren.
So it said they will rest upon the crown of him that was separate from his brethren, going to him being sold into slavery, right? So now I want to get you how we know that you guys are the Puerto Ricans on a little bit more history, okay? Because y'all came over here way before we did, right? Y'all was already over here when the conquistadors conquered the land, right? When did that happen? 2nd Esdras, give me that.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasseh the king of Assyria led away captive.
So if you read the history in the Bible, right, after the kingdom split up, you have northern kingdom and southern kingdom. You will be what's considered part of the northern kingdom tribe. They split up, and then the northern kingdom got taken into captivity first by the Assyrians. Those same Assyrians, after their captivity, what happened? Read.
And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves.
So this is jumping in time in history. Now it's giving you under the Persian Median captivity under King Cyrus. That's around 539 BC. Make sure you pay attention to this. At this point in time, he gave a decree. He said, whoever wants to stay in Jerusalem and build up the temple, come in and do so. But if you don't want to, guess what? You're free to leave. What did the Northern Kingdom tribes do? The so-called Hispanics and the so-called Native Americans, they decided to leave. This is giving the account of that history right here. Read that.
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
So it said they would leave the multitude of the heathen. Read.
And go forth into a further country where never mankind dwells.
It said where what?
Where never mankind dwells.
So they left and went to a further country where never mankind dwelt. I'm going to show you a map right here. Right here. So it said that they took and left off and went into a further country where never mankind dwelt. It's going to give you the path. 1 second, all right?
That they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
So it said they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. If you watch right here, right, Euphrates is right at this point. I'm going to point to it. Right there. All right? So Euphrates is that narrow passage of the river that is talking about. Read.
For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood.
He said they held still the flood. The reason why he had to do that is because the waters are very rough sailing around, especially this point of Africa. Because what they had to do to get to America, they had to go this way. You understand? So this point right here is called the Cape of Good Hope. Even today, it's very dangerous shipping lanes for our people to be able to pass through safely. So the Most High held still the waters so they could have a safe passage, right, to get to the other land. Read on.
Till they were passed over.
Till they were passed over. Where? To the new land where never mankind dwelt. This was known by the conquistadors as what? They teach you in history, what they call it? It's the blank world. What they call it? The new world. The new world. Read. That's why it said where never mankind dwelt. You understand? Read.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
So it took them a year and a half because when they got to these different places, what they do? They had to restock for supplies. They had to drop people off, right? So down here, you have the tribe of Asher and Naphtali. Up here, you have the tribe of Benjamin, right? In these places, you have the tribe of Issachar, Manasseh, right? All these different locations where people were dropped off. The tribe of Reuben, which would be the so-called Seminole Indians in Florida. You heard about them, right? And then the tribe of Gad, which would be the Native American Indians. They had to drop these people off over time. Read.
And the same region is called Arsaret.
Arsaret, again, meaning the new world. Okay?
I got the definition.
Oh, right here. Right here. Definition of Arsaret, right? This is from the Jewish encyclopedia. So the so-called fake people that call themselves the Jews, right? You familiar with the nation of Israel, right? The nation of people over there today that wear the little curly Q hats and the black top hats with the curly Qs and the long black robes, they're not the real people of God.
Right.
Not the real Jews.
You know,
because they use this symbol right here, right? But guess what? It really belongs to you.
Right.
It really belongs to us as a people. But this is what you're getting taught right now. These prophecies don't apply to them. We just prove it applies to y'all, right? The babies, the abundant things in the earth, you living by water, el moro, all those things are not a coincidence. Read.
Arsaret, the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man.
So it said, far away from the habitation of man. Read.
In which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell.
Will dwell, the 10 tribes, right? We read about that already, right? Read.
Observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration.
When is the time of restoration? Just by a guess, what would you tell me the time of restoration is? What does it mean to be restored? How about let's start here. To be restored, right? Are those shoes brand new? They new? So if they was like 3 or 4 years old, right, they wouldn't look like that, would they? If you were restoring the shoes, you are making them back as if they were new.
That's right.
Our people need to be restored. You understand that thing? Because again, we go back to the issue of you being called Boriquas, brave and noble lords. Are the Puerto Ricans, so the so-called Puerto Ricans, known as brave and noble lords now today? So you need to be restored to that former glory, right?
Right.
That's what it's talking about until the time of restoration. That means when Christ comes back, he's going to put everything in its proper order. And he's going to make sure that his people are set up on high like they were supposed to be. That's the restoration. You understand that thing? Read.
Columbus identified America.
Wait. Who?
Columbus.
Who is Columbus? Who was he talking about? Who's Columbus? Huh? He discovered America. Where'd you learn that? Huh? That's a lie. Because weren't there already people here?
Bring it out.
So how did he discover America? If I walk into your living room right now, kick down the door, boom, and see people living in your living room, right? I'm gonna see your mama, your daddy, maybe you got brothers and sisters, maybe your aunties in there. And I say, you know what? I declare this name in the name of Micaiah. Did I discover your living room? No, you were already there.
Right.
Columbus didn't discover a damn thing.
Bring it
That's
out.
what they tell you in school.
Bring it out.
You understand? You see the lie behind that? That's not okay. They teaching us to think less of ourselves as a people. Julio, right? I hope this is sinking in. Read.
Columbus identified.
So Christopher Columbus, who was a rapist, who was a murderer, he committed mass genocide against your people.
That's right.
You understand that thing? Read.
According to 3rd Esther 13:45, Columbus identified America with this land.
So in the Bible, Columbus knew what he was looking for. It said Columbus, Christopher Columbus, when he was coming to America, he seen our arsenic in the Bible.
Right.
And he looked and he said, you know what? I'm going over there. I'm going to go find those people. What they don't teach you about in history, in school, is that what he took with him was a Hebrew interpreter.
That's right.
He didn't bring nobody speaking Spanish, because guess what? They weren't speaking Spanish on this side of the earth. They were speaking Hebrew.
Right.
Why? Why is that? Because our people were already over here. That's what the Bible chronicles. Now, I wish somebody had Lost Tribes of Promised Lands for me, so we could get that history. You ever heard? You look astonished right now. You never heard this before, right?
Yeah.
Nah, this is new information. You either, right? You never heard that you was an Israelite from the tribe of Ephraim, a mighty people.
That's right.
It's very important to understand this thing, because we can't know nothing about where we're going unless we know where we come from.
We used to scream Black Power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.